I want to tell you a story about a man who had everything and lost it all. A man who was one of the most talented actors in Hollywood, but could not stop destroying himself. A man who was arrested, sent to prison, and told by the entire world that he was finished. And today, that man has starred in some of the highest-grossing films ever made, won an Academy Award, and built one of the greatest comeback stories in history. His name is Robert Downey Jr., and his story will change how you think about second chances, about hitting rock bottom, and about what happens when someone decides to fight for their own life. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Grew Up Too Fast. Robert Downey Jr. was born on April 4, 1965, in New York City. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was a filmmaker. His mother, Elsie Ann, was an actress. From the outside, it sounded like a creative and exciting family. But inside that home, things were deeply broken. His father struggled with drug addiction, and instead of protecting his son from that world, he introduced him to it. Robert tried marijuana for the first time when he was 6. 6! His father gave it to him. He later said that using drugs with his father was the way they bonded. It was how they connected. That was the only language of closeness he knew. By the time he was a teenager, Robert had tried almost every drug there was. He did not see anything wrong with it. It was normal in his house. It was normal in his world. No one told him to stop. No one showed him another way. His parents divorced when he was 13. Robert moved to California with his father. He dropped out of high school. He had no diploma, no structure, and no one guiding him. But he had something else. He had an extraordinary talent for acting. The lesson of this chapter is clear. The environment you grow up in shapes you, but it does not have to define you. Even the darkest beginning can lead somewhere beautiful if you keep moving forward.
Chapter 2. The Young Star. Robert Downey Jr. started acting as a child. His father put him in his low-budget films when Robert was just 5 years old. By the time he was a teenager, he had already been in several movies, and people noticed him. There was something magnetic about him. He could be funny, intense, vulnerable, and dangerous all in the same scene. In 1987, he starred in a film called Less Than Zero, where he played a young man destroyed by drugs. The performance was frighteningly real, because it was not just acting, he was living that life behind the cameras too. Then, in 1992, he played Charlie Chaplin in a film called Chaplin. His performance was so brilliant that he was nominated for an Academy Award. He was only 27 years old. Hollywood saw him as one of the most gifted actors of his generation. Directors wanted to work with him. Studios offered him big roles. The future looked limitless. But Robert had a secret that everyone knew, but no one could fix. He was addicted, and the drugs were pulling him deeper every single day. The lesson of this chapter is powerful. Talent alone is not enough. If you do not take care of yourself, even the greatest gift in the world will slip through your fingers. Chapter 3. The Fall. Through the 1990s, Robert Downey Jr. spiraled out of control. He was arrested multiple times. In 1996, police found him walking barefoot on Sunset Boulevard, carrying drugs. That same year, he was found passed out in a neighbor's house. He had wandered in while high and fallen asleep in a child's bed. He didn't even know where he was. He went to rehab. He came out, he used again. He went back. He came out. He used again. This cycle repeated over and over. Judges gave him chances. He broke every promise he made. In 1999, he was sentenced to 3 years in a California state prison. He served about 1 year. During that time, he was alone with himself for the first time in his life. No cameras, no audiences, no drugs, just silence and the echo of everything he had thrown away.
When he came out of prison, Hollywood did not want him. Studios refused to hire him. Insurance companies wouldn't cover him for film productions because he was considered too much of a risk. The man who had once been nominated for an Oscar could not get a job. The lesson of this chapter is difficult but true. There are consequences to every choice, and sometimes you have to lose everything before you understand what everything was worth.
Chapter 4. The Turning Point. After prison, Robert Downey Jr. tried again and failed again. He was arrested 2 more times in 2000 and 2001. He was fired from the television show Ally McBeal, where he had been making a successful comeback. It seemed like the story was over. But then something shifted. In 2003, Robert made a decision. He has described it simply. He said he looked at himself and thought, "This is not how my story ends." He committed fully to getting clean. He used martial arts, meditation, therapy, and the support of the people who still believed in him. One of those people was a woman named Susan Levin. She was a film producer. She told him directly that she would not be with him if he continued using drugs. She did not beg, she did not cry, she simply told him the truth. Robert chose her. He chose life. They married in 2005, and he has said many times that she saved his life. His friend Mel Gibson also helped him during this period. Gibson paid for Robert's insurance on a film when no studio would take the risk. That act of loyalty gave Robert a door back into the industry when every other door was closed. The lesson of this chapter is essential. You cannot do it alone. Everyone needs someone who believes in them, even when they do not believe in themselves. And sometimes love is the most powerful reason to change. Chapter 5. Iron Man. In 2008, Marvel Studios took a gamble. They were making a film about a comic book character that most people outside of hardcore fans did not know very well. The character was Tony Stark, also known as Iron Man, and they cast Robert Downey Jr. in the lead role. It was a risk for everyone. Robert was still considered unreliable by many in Hollywood. The director, Jon Favreau, had to fight for him. He told the studio that Robert was Tony Stark, a brilliant, charismatic, self-destructive man who rebuilds himself. The parallels were impossible to ignore. The film was a massive success. It earned over $585 million worldwide. And Robert did not just play Tony Stark, he became Tony Stark. Audiences around the world fell in love with him. His humor, his energy, his vulnerability, it was all real. Iron Man launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which would go on to become the highest-grossing film franchise in the history of cinema. And Robert was at the center of it all. The man who could not get hired 5 years earlier was now the foundation of a billion-dollar empire. The lesson of this chapter is essential. Sometimes your greatest pain becomes your greatest strength. Robert understood brokenness, recovery, and redemption, and that is exactly what made his performance so powerful. Chapter 6. The Legacy. Over the next 11 years, Robert Downey Jr. appeared in 10 Marvel films. He became the highest-paid actor in Hollywood. In some years, he earned over $75 million from a single film. But the money was never the real story. The real story was that Robert showed up every single day. He was professional, he was prepared, he was kind to his colleagues, he mentored younger actors, he brought energy and life to every set he walked onto. The people who worked with him said the same thing again and again. He was generous, funny, and completely present. In 2019, he said goodbye to Tony Stark in Avengers Endgame. The film earned over $2.7 billion, making it one of the highest-grossing films of all time. His final scene moved millions of people to tears around the world.
Then, in 2024, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in Oppenheimer. Standing on that stage, holding that golden statue, he smiled and said, "I would like to thank my terrible childhood." The audience laughed, but he meant it. Every broken piece of his past had led him to that moment. The lesson of this chapter is deeply moving. Your past is not your prison. It is your preparation. Every struggle, every failure, every dark night was training you for the moment when you would finally rise. Chapter 7. Giving Back. Robert Downey Jr. has never pretended that his journey was easy or clean. He talks openly about his addiction. He talks about the shame, the fear, and the years he lost. He does not hide from his past. He uses it to help others. He has supported organizations that help people recovering from addiction. He has spoken publicly about mental health. He has used his platform to remind people that no one is beyond saving. He has also invested in environmental technology. He founded a company focused on using artificial intelligence and robotics to help clean the planet. He has said that after spending years destroying himself, he wants to spend the rest of his life building something that matters. His relationship with his children is one of the things he talks about most. He has said that being a present, sober, loving father is the achievement he is most proud of. Not the films, not the awards, not the money. Being there, that is what matters most to him. The lesson of this chapter is inspiring. When you heal yourself, you gain the power to heal others. Your story of survival can become someone else's reason to keep going.
Chapter 8. Why this story matters to you. You are watching this video right now for a reason. Maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you have made mistakes that you think you cannot come back from. Maybe people around you have given up on you, and you are starting to believe they are right. Robert Downey Jr. was arrested. He went to prison. He was fired. He was humiliated in front of the entire world, and he still came back. Not because he was lucky, not because he was special, because he made a decision. He decided that his lowest moment would not be his last moment. So let me ask you something. What is the one thing in your life that you keep running from? What is the habit, the fear, the mistake that keeps pulling you backward? You know what it is. You have known for a long time. Now ask yourself this. What would happen if you stopped running and turned around to face it? What would your life look like 1 year from now if you made that decision today? You do not need to fix everything at once. Robert did not fix everything at once. He failed many times before he finally got it right, but he never stopped trying. That is the difference. Not perfection, persistence. Here is what you can do right now. Think of one small thing you can change today. Just one. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's putting your phone down. Maybe it's saying sorry to someone you hurt. Maybe it's asking for help. Start there. Start small, but start. The lesson of this chapter is the most important one. You are not your worst moment. You are not your biggest mistake. You are the person who gets to decide what happens next. Chapter 9. Your Comeback Story. Robert Downey Jr. once sat in a prison cell with nothing, no career, no respect, no hope. And he turned that nothing into one of the most extraordinary lives anyone has ever lived. He didn't do it because the world believed in him. The world had given up on him. He did it because somewhere deep inside, a small voice said, "Not yet. This is not the end." That same voice is inside you right now. Maybe it is quiet. Maybe it has been quiet for a long time, but it's there, and it's saying the same thing. Not yet. You still have more to give. Do not wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. Do not wait for someone to save you. Save yourself. Do not wait until you feel ready. You will never feel ready. Start now. Start messy. Start scared, but start. because the world is full of people who almost changed their lives, almost quit the habit, almost chased the dream, almost told the truth. Don't be an almost. Be someone who did. Your story is not over. The best chapters have not been written yet.